Okay, so extreme cold weather boots, when the temperature drops down to very, very cold temperatures, like -20, then I need something that's going to keep my feet warm. I need something that's big enough for my feet to be able to move around, something preferably with a flexible sole so that when I'm walking my feet can continue to move. That way they can retain the heat and retain the circulation. Once the circulation goes, it's hard to get your feet warm again, so that's critical. I don't want my feet to get wet, so waterproofing isn't so much of an issue when it's extremely cold because everything freezes, but sweat is an issue. You need to make sure that it's sufficiently breathable for the water vapour that's produced by your sweat to leave the boot. So this is the solution that I came up with and I'm very happy with. This is a British Army overboot. This is used for soldiers to put over their army issued boots in cold weather. There's insulation that you can see in the padding here within an outer layer of canvas. There's a sequence of straps that allow you to fit that to your foot so it doesn't move around too much when you're walking. There is a layer of leather around the boot which gives you some protection. You can see that it's had a lot of wear around the leather, but it hasn't broken. I'm quite confident that these are strong enough to hold up to the conditions here. The sole itself is rubber. It's not particularly thick. It is quite strong and rigid, but it's useless on ice. It's very, very slippy. So what these are generally for is walking in deep snow when the conditions are very, very, very cold. I also use them when I stop hiking and I need my feet to warm up. So let's have a look at what I've done with them to make sure they're insulated enough to handle those kind of temperatures. So this is the boot. Inside the boot itself I have some booties. These are two different booties. You can see here the inner is a small size, the outer is a medium size. These are 1 centimeter thick felt, and felt is boiled wool that's been reduced down and compacted to make a very tough material. It's breathable, which is the critical thing for me, which means that my feet can breathe through this layer and through the canvas without accumulating too much sweat. They're very, very insulating, and they're very flexible, so my foot can move around and retain the circulation. So these are great. I can also use these when I stop, if I'm camping or if I'm in an ice cave or if I'm in a cabin. I can use these as slippers. They're warm enough to be in contact with the floor in those conditions. Absolutely fine for that. I like them a lot. One thing that I would change if I was to do this again is I'd get enough felt for the ankle to be high enough for me to get a seal with the snow gaiter on my ski trousers, because these leave a gap which isn't sealed around my ankle, and that can get cold. So those are my booties which are inside the boots. The sole itself, it's not quite thick enough. The idea of these things is you put them over boots, but I'm not using them with boots because I wanted to make sure that they were breathable enough. So what I've done instead is I've used the foam layer that came with the overboots. It's roughly 1 centimeter thick. It's not breathable, but because I'm using the booties that are felt and they're so thick, there's plenty of breathable space for me not to accumulate sweat. I haven't had any problem with that when I've been walking in these boots. I've also put in, to add an extra layer, 2 layers of what used to be a yoga mat, and that's sufficiently insulating with these and the foam and the rubber itself to do the job most of the time. If I need to get extra insulation, I can put additional layers in the form of insoles. So this roughly centimeter thick felt insole, this will also boost the insulation. And that, in a nutshell, is the booties. Waterproofing, I can use a WR spray on these to make them waterproof, but that's not really an issue in cold weather because water will obviously freeze. That is these extreme cold weather boots.